it is my pleasure to bring to the stage to deliver our first keynote of the day, the CEO and MD of Aradel Holdings. Please warmly welcome Gbite Falade, CEO and MD, Aradel Holdings.
It's my honor, privilege, and pleasure to share a story with you. I think it would be odd and strange if, as an African speaking at an African event, you are not telling stories. And so please pardon me if what I'm going to talk about over the course of the next 10 minutes feels more like a story than a lecture. And it's not meant to be a lecture. My name is Gbite Falade. I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Aradel Holdings PLC. And this morning, I just want to tell a bit about our story, but not just as Aradel, but as an illustration of possibilities when, as Africans, we take deliberate steps to create narratives that are strong, that are compelling, and that reflect the future for our continent. So it's the story of our 20 years of continuous production. We target the journey of growth and sustainability and national success. For context, Aradel Holdings PLC is a publicly quoted company on the stock of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. As at this morning, with a market cap of about $1.6 billion and about 18,000 shareholders. As a company, we are based and anchored on a set of core values, and those core values actually reflect our name. So it's the summation of those core values that you get the Aradel from. It's about our commitment to accountability, and these have been the North Star guiding our journey, not just in the last 20 years of continuous production, but in the last 33 years of our existence. It's on the core value of resilience, and the way we build this resilience is as a fabric of our DNA in how we look at issues. It's also in the way we've set ourselves up operationally, such that today, within our operational footprint, we are resilient by building redundant parts to market, and also building resilience across different market segments. It's about our unflinching commitment to adaptability. As you rightly know, the upstream industry, in fact, the entire energy value chain is one of ups and downs, all kinds of booms and busts. But what has remained as a core star for us is our commitment to always adapt. It's about our commitment to diversity and inclusion. It's about our commitment to welcome different opinions, different contexts, different perspectives, and yet forge all of that into what continues to push us forward. It's about our unflinching commitment to excellence. It's excellence in operations from us. As far back as 2012, we consciously eliminated routine flaring from our operations. We have very minimal effluent discharges. Our commitment to elimination of carbon emission didn't just start today. It dates back more than a decade ago. Even though our production may not be as large as many of the independents and NOCs, one of the core values that we share as a company is our commitment to sector leadership. And in that space, as a company, we've successfully pioneered a number of feats over the course of our existence. For instance, 25 years ago, when it was not yet an institutionalized process, we pioneered the concept of marginal field operations when we negotiated the first set of marginal fields with the IOCs. 5 years after, we pioneered the concept of modular refinery in Nigeria. We also pioneered at that same time the concept of the Host Community Development Trust Fund, which was our template for managing our relationship with our host communities, and which has now become and onboarded into the Constitution of Nigeria in the Petroleum Industry Act as the framework for managing the lessor-lessee relationship. And there are still other firsts. So we remain committed to the concept of sector leadership. In terms of how our journey started, it started in 1992 when we were incorporated as Midas Drilling Fund. And in 1996, we rebranded to become what was then known as Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC. In 2000, we acquired two set of marginal fields, and I'll speak a bit about that shortly. And then 5 years after, we got into first oil in 2005. In 2010, we started off with a topping plant modular refinery that was basically producing AGO, 1,000 barrels per day, and which over time has scaled up to 11,000 barrels per day. In 2012, we started a playbook where it is not just value coming from fields that we directly operate, but we started joining with partners of like mind, fellow African independents, to undertake significant acquisitions. And specifically in 2012, we joined together with First A&P, with Walter Smith and Petrolane to acquire the divested interest of the multinationals in OMA 34. OMA 34 is an asset of significant national strategic importance, significant producer of gas into the domestic economy. In 2014, we had our first foray beyond the shores of Nigeria when we partnered with NIPET to have a joint venture that today is known as Nile Delta. And then the journey continued on and on. In 2012, we became the first non-joint venture partner supplying gas to NLNG. And between then and now, we've supplied cumulatively about 120 billion scoop of gas under contract to NLNG. The journey continues, but let me leapfrog into 2023. In 2023, we then had a brand refresh. We changed our name from Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC and became known as Aradel as you have it today. And a year after, we then became listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. In that process, having the record of the single largest market cap addition to the exchange. In that 2024 as well, we acquired in our stable another marginal field from the stable of NNPC and Total, what we know as Olo field today. And by 2025, ourselves with our partners with whom we acquired the divested interest of the IOCs in OMA 34 came together under the banner of Renaissance Africa Energy Company and acquired the divested onshore business of Shell in Nigeria, today known as Renaissance Africa Energy Company, operating across 18 OMLs, across different terrains, land, swamp, and shallow offshore. This journey has been quite interesting. And just to put it in context, one of the fields that we acquired in 2000, which is the Gbite field, at the time of acquisition was deemed to have 5 million barrels remaining resources. And at the time we acquired was basically doing just about 2,000 barrels a day. 20 years down the line, we've extracted north of 30 million barrels from this field. And current established production potential stands at 18,000 barrels per day. All this has been possible by very dedicated, committed, indigenous Nigerian staff who just continue to work using superior knowledge, using superior technology to get us going. That's the story. Next to that, our gas play. At the time we came on stream in Gbite field, you didn't even have a gas reserve because there was no gas solution in place, so everything was being flared. But we've moved from having no gas in play today to establishing about a week ago a peak production of 73 million scoop per day. And we remain convinced that we will continue to grow in that trajectory going down the line. So how do I summarize the Aradel story? I summarize it as a story of what is possible. I summarize it as a story that is typical. I summarize it as a story that should continue to feature and dominate the African landscape, not just in the Niger Delta, not just in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in South Africa, and everywhere. I put it as a success story of when indigenous competence and capacity come together and are able to unleash what has now become a treasure trove Today, directly, we employ about 270 people, and indirectly, probably triple that. And is the story of what is possible. This is the Aradel story, and I'd like to thank you for your time and patience listening to this story. Thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the session.